loud, too frightening, or too heavy to carry alone. If you've ever felt that way, then Maya Angelou's poem, Come and Be My Baby, it's a poem that seems to help you deal with that kind of circumstance because it's a poem that deals with a world of bad news, fear, confusion, and people searching for escapes. But in the middle of all that chaos or all this chaos, the persona offers something simple, human, and powerful, and that thing is love. This morning, we are going to look at how Maya Angelou presents love not just as romance, but as comfort, safety, and emotional survival in a troubled world. This poem reminds us that sometimes when everything outside feels uncertain, the most powerful thing we can offer one another is presence, tenderness, and a place to rest. Welcome to my channel where literature has been the focus and attention, and the desire is to make it simpler than it is or to show you how simple it can be. In today's lesson, we are going to have a detailed discussion of the title of a poem that is on the screen, Come and Be My Baby by Maya Angelou. As you can read on the screen, and as I taught yesterday, it's a poem about love, about comfort, and about finding shelter in a troubled world. But today I wouldn't be repeating the lesson, therefore I wouldn't be doing a discussion of the poem again. I did that yesterday and I shared the recorded lesson on my page so you can go and visit, you can watch it. What I'll do today is to discuss the themes as they are in the poem. So thematic analysis of Come and Be My Baby. And I'm going to try as much as I could or I can to get some lines in the poem to support everything. Alright, so Maya Angelou's poem, Come and Be My Baby, is a love poem or it presents love as a form of emotional refuge in a world filled with fear, confusion, and social disorder or chaos. The persona does not deny the harshness of the world, the difficulties that people face in the world. Rather, she responds to it with intimacy, care, and human connection. One of the topmost themes that I will be looking at today is love as refuge from a troubled world. Love shouldn't be painful according to this poem, but it should open its arm as a form of refuge. The central theme is that love can offer safety when the outside world feels unstable or unsafe. The speaker or the persona describes a world full of confusion and danger, then repeatedly offers a simple invitation. And that's what you can see on the screen. That's the invitation. Come and be my baby. Now, these lines function like a shelter. It does not solve the problems you are going through or the problems the world presents to you or to us, but rather it gives we the troubled people somewhere to turn to, somewhere to run to. Now the word come is a direct and agent invitation. That's why it comes with a full stop. It could have been better from my point of view. I'm not I'm nowhere close to Maya Angelou when it comes to writing poems. But if I want to do a criticism of the poem, I would have preferred a command like an exclamation mark instead of a full stop. That does not mean that the full stop doesn't work. It works for the poem. So by putting the full stop there, which separates the calm from the other part of the title, automatically presents it as a direct invitation, which is agent. It's a form of command. Now, be my baby is a tender and comforting or soothing part of the title. So you are directly invited, come. Then your nerves, your troubled mind, your difficulties or your difficult experience have all been soothed with and be my baby. So that calms your nerve and makes you feel that love can provide rest in a chaotic world. Now, another thing that we can look at in this poem is directness or directionlessness and emptiness in modern world. There's so much lack of direction and there's so much emptiness or empty in the lives of people. People's lives are so empty and there's so much chaos. People running helter skelter, don't even know where to head to or what to do. Now, the poem opens with the image of big cars going nowhere fast. This actually set the tone for the theme, lack of direction. It suggests people are moving quickly. People are actually moving, but without real purpose. That's why they are not going anywhere fast. They are moving, but there's no agency in their movement because they don't have any specific place that they are heading towards. The cars are symbols for modernization or modernity. Now, speed, noise, movement, and material success are all embedded in modern life. When we talk about modernization or modernity, we are looking at movement, we are looking at material success, we are looking at noise, what others prefer to call noise pollution. We are looking at speed, that is modernization. Now, however, these big cars directly contrast with what follows next, going nowhere fast. Nowhere fast or nowhere fast here shows that this movement is empty. This speed is empty. There is no focus. There is no purpose. There is no direction. Now, Angelo or Maya Angelou in this context is directly criticizing a society that appears busy and advanced but leaves people emotionally lost. They are a society or there are societies that appear so advanced, and when you enter those societies, everybody seems to be very busy. But citizens or inhabitants of those cities or societies are emotionally lost. They are not stable. They go through series of problems, challenges, difficulties, opportunities get lost. Some people do not even find opportunities at all. And that is what Maya Angelou is criticizing over here. Good. So when we talk about lack of direction and looking at all this, you realize that people are moving all right. People wake up, they go to work, they go to hustle, they go to struggle, they move, but they are not necessarily living meaningfully. There is no positive correlation between their constant or consistent movement and the product or the expected outcome from their movement. There is nothing like that. Now, another thing that we can make mention of is fear and uncertainty. There's so much fear and panic in the world today. And the poem creates a world where people are anxious about the future. People are so expectant of what to get in the future. The persona says, some prophets say the world is gonna end tomorrow, while others say there may be a week or two. So much fear, and there's so much of it today. I don't know if it is the popularization of social media that has made it, but there's so much of such fear, such unreasonable predictions. Now, these lines show uncertainty and panic or fear. Nobody seems to know what will happen, even though we are expected or expectant of it. People are so anxious that do not know what will come out. Now, the mention of prophet also suggests that even religious or spiritual voices play their role in creating the fear that people feel or go through instead of or rather than promoting peace. The world feels unstable. The inhabitants of the world feels scared and stable. People are left wondering what to do next. And that is a sign of doom because when the citizens are not safe, there's so much disadvantage that comes to the society as a whole. Another very important thing that we can talk about is the theme of emotional burden of bad news, the aftermath effects of bad news, the repercussion of bad news. Maya Angelou shows how constant exposure to bad news affects people emotionally. The line, the paper is full of every kind of blooming horror, suggests that newspapers, like I mentioned yesterday, are filled with violence, disaster, and suffering. The use of the word horror is important because it shows that the news is not neutral. It frightens people. The persona addressed or the receivers addressed in this poem are usually overwhelmed by this reality and begins to wonder what they are going to do or what they will be doing or what they will do. This uncertainty in what they are going to do captures the helplessness people feel when surrounded by troubles they cannot control. So newspapers or news outlets spread bad rumors, spread fear, spread gloom, horror, and this in turn affects the people negatively. As a result, they do not even know what they will do. There's so much uncertainty. Escapism and self-destruction. Escapism and self-destruction. Come and be my baby also explores how people try to escape pain, agony, disappointment, disasters. Folks is smoking anything that will burn, quote and unquote, and wrap their lives around a cocktail glass, quote and unquote, suggests addiction, dependency, and emotional escape. People are using substances to cope with fear and emptiness. People are using substances to cope with pain, suffering, and disaster. People smoke anything that will burn. anything that they come across. Once is capable of helping them cope with their present or current difficulties, they will smoke it. Now, rap their life is especially strong because it suggests that alcohol has become central to their existence. But the speaker offer or the speakers or the persona's offer of love becomes an alternative to this kind of escape. Instead of turning to drugs or alcohol or anything that could destroy their health, they rather should turn to the persona in the poem who offers love, affection, and comfort. Julia Antiton, thank you. You're welcome to the channel. The purpose is to make literature simple. If you have any contributions you could bring, if you're a lover of literature, you could connect with me and we could make great things happen together. So even though people are dealing with their difficulties, that's what the title says, come and be my baby. Come and be my baby because in your difficult moment, your time at your lowest point, I am here to provide support, to provide love, to provide peace, to provide comfort, to provide intimacy. So that is the only point where people get an escape that they truly deserve or desire. Now we can talk about public chaos as against or versus private tenderness, also as themes in the poem Come and Be My Baby. Now, this poem contrasts public disorder with private love. The public world or the outside world contains highways where cars go but nowhere, drugs where people smoke anything that will burn, alcohol where people wrap their lives around cocktails, frightening news spread by the papers, and predictions of the world's ending done by prophets. These are all chaotic. These all create disorder, and these are all public. In direct contrast to this negativity from the public, the private world contains the speaker's invitation, come and be my baby, quote and unquote. So this contrast gives the poem its emotional power. Maya Angelou actually shows that public crisis enter private life, which creates anxiety and loneliness. But she also suggests that private tenderness can resist despair, disappointment, pain, agony. So whilst the public life or the outside life is so chaotic, so dramatic, full of difficult situations, full of pain, there is a private life, which is what she suggests to give you intimacy, love, attention, and that could really help you escape these difficult situations that have been provided by or created by the public. Let's look at one more thing for today. Like I always tell you, class should not be too long so that people who are not in the class can also come and listen later. We have hope through love. I intentionally decided to discuss this theme last because it reflects to me the, the foundation of the poem. With all the negativities, with all the chaos, there's hope. And we can attain this hope through love. We can achieve this hope through love. Although the poem describes scary world, frightening world, chaotic world, it is not a hopeless situation. Hope comes through relationships. The persona cannot stop the horror, the disappointment, the pains, the agonies, the chaos that people go through in the world. She cannot stop the bad news, bad predictions from the prophet. She cannot stop the horror that the newspapers spread, but she can offer presence and love. So the intentional repetition of come and be my baby, quote and unquote, becomes the poem's hope. And for your information, I taught this in one of my lessons online and it's on my channel. You can listen to it. Repetition in literature is for emphasis. Even in real life, repetition are for emphasis. So when someone repeats something, just know that the person is drawing attention to that or laying emphasis on that. So the repetition of come and be my baby, quote and unquote, becomes the poem hope. It suggests that even when the world feels broken, even when people feel destroyed, even when people feel hopeless, people can still comfort each other. Love becomes a small but meaningful form of survival. Therefore, as a way of concluding today's lesson, I would like to inform you that Maya Angelou's poem, Come and Be My Baby, presents a world full of fear, confusion, addiction, and bad news. Through images such as big cars going nowhere, the world is gonna end today or tomorrow by prophets, every kind of blooming horror, newspapers or the papers. But she shows how love can save us from this overwhelming modern life. Because against this darkness, the persona offers love by saying, come and be my baby. So note, the poem's central message is that love may not remove the world's problem, but it can give people emotional shelter, comfort, and strength. It's been nice being with you. Quite a number of you followed today and also listened. Thank you. Keep coming. Note the time. See you tomorrow where we'll discuss another point. If you have any interesting point that you want me to talk about, just wait some few hours after the lesson. You'll see this online and just leave the poem there. Or you can text me on YouTube and I'll read and respond to you. Bye bye.